So I was just chased down and asked if I would like to interview the people behind the Trump 2028 project, which I can only imagine the meaning of. Okay, so is this serious? And how would that be actualized? Is it about repealing the 22nd Amendment?
Yeah, there is a constitutional amendment that's been introduced by Representative Andy Ogles of Tennessee. It's currently active, so we're with the third term project. We are pushing support for the Andy Ogles amendment. So we're rallying first, starting with more conservative lawmakers in D.C., working on getting them on board as co-sponsors, and then trying to broaden the support from there. So yes, we are very serious about pushing this, and there's already been an amendment resolution introduced in Congress. So right now we're rallying support behind that amendment.
But do you really think that 2/3 of state legislatures would ratify the amendment by 2028? Usually it can take many years.
It's definitely,
It wouldn't just be Republican states that would have to ratify it.
It's definitely going to take a lot of work. So we're building the foundation right now. There's a huge groundswell of support. I mean, close to 100% support here at CPAC for the idea. Our buttons are moving pretty fast. So we're happy to build the groundwork for that. Obviously, it's going to take a lot of work, but we're happy to do the work.
So there's no scenario in which Trump could simply disregard the 22nd Amendment, right? No, that you're actually advocating for a constitutional process. Or in other words, I've heard it argued that depending on how you read, there's potentially some way to read the text of the 22nd Amendment that would enable Trump to run for a third term, maybe because he's been elected to 2 non-consecutive terms or something along those lines. But no, you do think that the 22nd Amendment as it reads today would not allow for him to run again?
Yeah, well, I'm a part of the group Republicans for National Renewal. We're for the Constitution, supporting the Constitution, restoring the Constitution. So no, we don't want to go around the Constitution. We want to amend it, whether it's done through Representative Andy Ogles' constitutional amendment, or whether it's done through Article 5 Convention of the States. So with those, that's what we're looking for. And we don't want to disregard the Constitution. We just want to give the people a choice. And if Trump's on the ballot in 2028 and the people want it, that's what they should get.
Right, so the Article 5 Convention, that's never been done before in American history. I think didn't Thomas Jefferson say that once every 30 years or something, there should be a new constitutional convention, but that never occurred. Actually, I read in the New York Times maybe a month ago an article that was pretty good on developments or momentum around the concept of an Article 5 convention that you might not have known about if you're not following the intricacies of that issue. So what's the status of an Article 5 convention? And just to explain what that means for people who might not be familiar.
Basically, it would be a convention of the states, so the states could call what would essentially be a constitutional convention to amend the Constitution. There's been momentum developing around the idea in recent years. I know there's been resolution. I'm from the state of Michigan. There's been resolutions that have been active and gaining mainstream support. So, for various ideas, people have talked about balanced budget amendment or something along those lines. So injecting the Trump 2028 idea, the third term project into that discussion is something that we're also going to do. Right now, we're primarily focused on garnering support for Representative Ogles' amendment. But we also are going to push for the Article 5 too, in case that doesn't work.
And what's the underlying motivation for it? Is Trump really just that irreplaceable or historically anomalous that J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or somebody else couldn't carry on the mantle? Why does it have to be Trump personally? And he would be, 83 or 82 if he were to run again in 2028, which is pretty old.
Well, if you look at, different presidents, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Obama, the recent presidents, they went into office and it looked like by the end they looked much older. that looked like their vitality was robbed from them from the day-to-day stress of the process. Trump seems like he's aging in reverse. He's very. You wouldn't think he was in his late 70s. You would think maybe early 60s and 50s. So I think he has a special man with the vitality to do the job for another 4 years. And you're going with a proven commodity. When I got involved in the movement, I was a Ron Paul supporter, and Ron Paul, he had a pretty good groundswell of grassroots support, but didn't win a primary, didn't come close to winning the nomination. Same for Pat Buchanan. So Trump was able to fight the establishment and get across the finish line. So we want to go with a proven commodity, a proven winner. And J.D. Vance, what is he, 40, 41? He'll still be a young man. With 2032, when his time comes, he'll still be a young man, and he'll still be able to take the mantle from there. But I think we go with a proven commodity. What Trump is doing with DOGE and with attacking the federal bureaucracy that's been, in my opinion, strangling the American people for so long. Let him finish the job. Let him alter the trajectory of the country, and give him his third term.
What would you say to people who hear this idea and think that it's reminiscent of some sort of authoritarianism, or this idea that maybe Trump has an excessively outsized cult of personality around him, or people are willing to literally revise the Constitution just at his behest? Is there anything to that critique?
Well, let them be outraged. A lot of the outrage on Twitter right now is getting us a lot of publicity, so let them be outraged. But the way I see it is, if you look at what Trump's agenda is doing, he's going after the federal bureaucracy. He's dismantling the administrative state, the deep state. So let that, and that, in my opinion, is decentralization. So Trump is decentralizing government. He's taking power away from the government, giving it to the people. I think that's the opposite of an authoritarian agenda. Foreign policy, I think he's going more toward the direction of non-intervention, whereas Biden was throwing all the money at Ukraine and.
Well, it wouldn't be a non-interventionism to have the U.S. take over Gaza and turn it into a military protectorate, would it?
Well,
that was his big proposal so far of the second term.
Well, fair point, but I do think that's just more of him throwing some stuff out there, trying to get both sides. I think it's more of a negotiating tactic than a solid policy.
That's impossible to know. I mean, he's repeated it over and over.
We'll see. I'm willing to give Trump some leeway on stuff like that, considering I think that he generally wants to go in more of a direction of peace. So I'm willing to give him more leeway on that. But generally, especially what he's been doing in Ukraine, I think is going in the right direction. Not just giving a blank check to Zelensky, trying to get Russia and Ukraine to the table to negotiate some sort of peace. So I'm willing to give him more leeway than probably you are on that.
Okay. So what is there anything that could happen in the next 3 years, or anything Trump could do that would make you change your mind on whether this is a good idea? Could he actually? Just as a hypothetical, is there anything that you can conceive of that would maybe make you reconsider whether you want to enable him to be permanently installed into power?
Absolutely not. I think we know what we're getting with Trump, and I think it's his second term. I think he's learned a lot of the lessons from his first term. I think you look at Tulsi Gabbard as DNI, you look at RFK as Health and Human Services Secretary. Kash Patel at the head of the FBI, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense. I think you see those are 4 outsiders who have been put into those roles, and it shows that he's not putting in swamp creatures, so to speak, in key roles, and that's a lot of power over the bureaucracy. So I think he's going clearly in the right direction, and I don't see anything that can happen in the next 3 years that would change my mind or the mind of the people here that Trump should have his third term.
All right, finally, I mean, you do have a likeness of Trump where he is represented as Caesar. People might look at that and wonder about the potential of some kind of tyrannical rule. I mean, maybe it's still a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I don't know. What's the relationship between Trump and Caesar, or what led to that?
Well,
that symbol.
We think it's good optics. I mean, like I said, people get offended if they are gonna cry on Twitter. That's gonna help. That's gonna give us good publicity. So
it's a little bit of a trolling then.
let them be triggered. That's kind of the way we're going with our advertising and our promotions.
All right, very good. Shane Trejo.
Yes.
And then where can people look if they want to find more?
Go to thirdtermproject.com. We're rallying support for Representative Andy Ogl's amendment. So
have you coordinated with him? Do you?
Not yet. We're looking to, but not officially yet. So we're definitely in his corner, and we're trying to get as many co-sponsors on his resolution as possible.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.